I'm grateful to be able to read a piece about Palestine and football. Football is a metaphor of life, for life. At least, it is in my own warped mind, where standings,
speak up into the mic,
statistics, and cup dates take prominence over many things. There are the simple metaphors, such as Real Madrid are the good guys, dressed in all white, and FC Barcelona are the bad ones. The roles they fill, like the Arab-Israeli conflict, are much more complex. The rivalry is not simply Castilians against Catalans, or nationalists versus Republicans. It's a multifaceted rivalry. This brings me to my main point. The friendly match between FC Barcelona and the Peace Team, a team comprised of Israeli and Palestinian players, was organized on the premise that it would lead to normalized relations and peace in the region. The Peace Team is a media-friendly story that continues to hide the truth of Israel's brutal occupation of Palestine. The problem with this type of event is that it does not address the actual problems surrounding the conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is often reduced to an ethnic hatred that dates back to the biblical era. This is a myth. While Jews were suffering from pogroms and mistreatment in Europe, they lived in peace alongside Muslims and Christians in the Arab world. The Jewish Golden Era refers to a time period in Arab-ruled Andalusia. To say that Palestinians, who are amongst the most educated people in the Arab world, are hate-mongers is just untrue. If there is any hatred of Israelis, it is by no means because of ethnicity or religion. Rather, it is because of what the Israeli military has tried to do, to crush the Palestinian spirit. Palestinians in the West Bank, Gaza, and inside of Israel are treated like second-class citizens. Palestinians in the occupied territories suffer from enforced curfews and heavy-handed military tactics that since September 2000 have claimed the lives of 707 children and nearly 2,000 civilians while needlessly destroying 4,180 homes in the name of anti-terrorism. While I recognize that there is violence conducted against Israelis, and I completely condemn suicide bombings, the numbers of deaths are not even comparable. To make matters worse, the policies of continued occupation, increased settlements, and military incursions are supported by many in the Knesset, who also claim to support peace through initiatives such as the Peace Team. Many right-wing MKs have been known to use the slogan "No Arabs, No Terror," which was popularized by right-wing activist David Haibi, supporting the forced removal of Palestinians from their land. These types of slogans are seen everywhere in football stadiums around Israel, where Arab players are booed and harassed by fans. 2 years ago, Bnei Sachnin, a team from the predominantly Arab Galilee, won the Israeli Cup and the right to represent Israel in the prestigious UEFA Cup competition. After Sachnin's victory, one Israeli sports columnist claimed it to be the death of Israeli football. Many Israeli companies passed up on the opportunity of sponsoring the Israeli Cup champions. Abbas Souan, Sachnin's Arab captain, was called up to the Israeli national team after the Cup victory, making him the second Arab to play for Israel and the first since the establishment of a Palestinian national team in 1998. Walid Badr, Israel's only other Arab player, and Souan scored key goals against Ireland and France. These goals enabled Israel to go far in the qualification tournament for the World Cup. However, Souan and Badr were greeted at many home games with banners that read, "You don't represent us." These actions prompted the Arab MK Ahmed Tibi to say "No Arabs, no goals," in retaliation to the treatment of Souan and Badr. However, football for Palestinians in the West Bank is markedly worse. The national team, which has been in existence for the past 8 years, is in my opinion probably one of the solitary positives resulting from the Oslo Accords. However, like the majority of Palestinians, the national team plays in games in exile, either in Jordan or Qatar. Moreover, checkpoints and harassment by Israeli security often means that the players have little time to train with each other. Ironically, it takes less time for players based in Chile to make it to Jordan or Qatar than it does for most inside the territories. Nearly half of the team members were born outside of Palestine, and like many Palestinians, they have never seen the land they're representing. The Second Intifada has brought many hardships to the team. Tragedy has struck them repeatedly. Many return from playing a match to find that a family member has been killed, or their homes have been demolished. However, tragedy has not stopped the national team from earning results that are celebrated among Palestinians, including most recently an 8-0 victory over Taiwan and a 1-1 draw with Iraq in World Cup qualifications. However, due to the occupation, it is unlikely that I or any other Palestinian will be celebrating a World Cup appearance anytime soon. Returning to the issue of the peace team, it's not so much that I think it is a bad idea. I think it misrepresents the true situation on the ground. Although Israeli Arabs face racial prejudice, the vast majority of Palestinians face much more than that. They face brutal occupation that claims the young, destroys homes, and uproots olive trees. For them, their only hatred is reserved for the oppressive occupation under which they live. I invite the idea of a one-state solution, where people of all faiths are treated equally and given a political medium to express their concerns. However, a brutal occupation and the nature of Israeli politics prevent this from ever becoming a reality. Until then, the Israeli organizations such as the Paris Peace Center will only pay lip service to the concept of peace fielding such stunts as the peace team, and unilateral tactics that do nothing to bring peace to the region. Thank you.